Hi, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's do a little critical thinking today. I like to challenge my own beliefs. I have a belief in Christianity. I can get down with some Jesus stuff. I think Jesus is a very interesting character in the Bible. I've heard people say that Jesus is the ideal man, the ideal person to live up to. We should live up to his ideal. What would Jesus do? Right? You heard that. You see the bumper sticker. And I think there's some value to it. He's got some amazing teachings, and regardless of if the Bible is true or not, people want to look at it as a history book. I don't like to get down with that. That falls apart. I've been to Israel. There's not a lot of solid DNA, and there's not a lot of solid history behind much of this stuff. However, regardless of if it's real or not, it's still an incredible message in the book. You know what Bible stands for? B-I-B-L-E. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. When you look at it that way, as an instructional guidebook, it really does have some good teachings. What's wrong with thou shalt not kill? You know, what's wrong with some of the teachings that is in there? They're great. But we have to be critical of everything. You have to be critical of everything. So let's be just a little critical of the Jesus character, because I have heard this statement that he's the ideal man. Why would he be the ideal man? Just look at his character in the book. Here's a guy who, first of all, his lifespan in the book is, we missed 16 years. There's a lost 16 years of Jesus Christ's life. So right around the age, when he's a teenager, somewhere between 13 and 16, he takes off, he disappears, he's gone. And then at around 32 or somewhere in that realm, he comes back. He shows up again. Where was he during that time? There's great speculation. When they talk about Jesus being a carpenter, what he was the son of a carpenter. And as many of you out there have probably done, you may have helped your father. Jesus helped his father. So he wasn't a carpenter. He didn't have his own business with a sign out front. He wasn't an entrepreneur. He wasn't an adult man with his own business. He was a child, 12, 13-year-old boy, handing nails and hammers to his father. So he wasn't a carpenter. He wasn't working. And that's the first criticism that I have of the Jesus character, is that if he's the ideal man, why did he never have a job? Throughout the whole book, Jesus never has a job. He never goes and gets a job. Everybody else has to work, but he doesn't. Why is he not working? How can I look up to a man who's never worked a day in his life, who doesn't know what it's like to get up repeatedly every single day, year in and year out, at the same time, when it's still dark out, work for 16 hours a day, 10 hours a day, come home when it's dark, and do it all for your family? And that's another thing that I find questionable about this aspect, this idea that Jesus was the ideal man, is he never has a family. So he never has a job, he never provides, and he never has anybody to provide for. He never has a girlfriend, he never has a wife, he never has children. Jesus never makes babies. Now, you may have seen the Da Vinci Code, and you may have some ideas about extra stories that you want to add into the Bible or that people have written about. I'm not here to argue with you about that stuff. We're just talking about the actual book itself. And there's no record of him getting married. There's no record of him having sex. There's no record of him having children. So Jesus misses out, the character in the book misses out on an aspect of manhood that many of you have gone through, and that most of all men since the beginning of time have gone through, of working, having kids, and having a wife, having a girlfriend, having a significant other. These are people that you would care about. He's never had to protect. So if he's never had to provide, he's never had a family, he's never had to protect his daughter. He doesn't know what it's like to stand up with flared nostrils and a pushed out chest and say, you are not fucking with my family. He's never had to stand up for his wife. You've ever stood up for your wife? You know what that's like as a man? That's part of your role. She looks at you, and you know what to do. You turn into Will Smith. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Jesus never had to do that. So you miss out on a huge experience that I look at as an experience of manhood. He didn't have a lot of experiences of manhood. In fact, in many ways, the character Jesus Christ in the book, the Bible, seems rather immature, rather narcissistic. Now, you think, well, how could he be narcissistic? His whole thing was serving others. But was he? He was starting a cult and spreading a message. And he got killed for it. Because he was a heretic. He was an anti-government radical. He never joined the military. Many of you out there, I have lots of great customers and great friends who have proudly served. Jesus never proudly served. He never picked up a spear and a shield. He wasn't a nationalist. He wasn't a patriot. He was anti-government. So I wonder, what it about him specifically makes him the ideal man? It's just his message. He didn't practice what he preached. Much of what he preached he'd never even experienced. It's not that I'm saying he's a hypocrite. I'm just saying that he was an inexperienced person. Somebody who hadn't done much. Didn't have a lot of experiences. Didn't have a lot of experiences of manhood. So I have to end the video with the same question that I started it with, is why? Why then do we look at Jesus Christ, the main character in the New Testament, the book, the Bible? Why do we look at him as the ideal man? It's good to be critical. Thinking about this type of thing may only solidify your belief in Jesus or in Christianity. I'm not here to tear anything down. We just have to be critical. We have to criticize. It's all food for thought.